guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've done like a sit down video. So if I'm once again being awkward, it's just because I haven't done this in a while. So actually, I'm in the middle of editing a few videos, or like when I say a few, like I literally only have three videos that I took during my short vacation to Tokyo. I wanted to share a few updates on like notable places to help you guys plan your trips. I mean, travel is one of my biggest hobbies, and Tokyo or Japan is like some place that where my week passport will take me. So, if you do find that useful, then or if you're interested or are planning a trip to Tokyo soon, then definitely check that out. But yeah, shifting gears, like imagine my delight when I saw that my fellow booktuber Van tagged me in a book tag. I've never done that before, and basically it's like this really fun book tag to help you guys learn more about me if you're interested, and my reading preferences, my book preferences. And I really, of course, want to thank Ven for tagging me there. It's been really enjoyable and a great experience to try and come up with interesting answers and to try and sound interesting, to be to be completely honest. So if you're interested in seeing how I answer these questions, which I will link down on the description box below in case my other fellow booktubers want to create a video just like this. Keep watching, and yes, please, if you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and subscribe. I do book content. I also do travel content and some hobbies content as well. I've been rambling on. Let's get on with the answers. So the first question is, what's in the name? If a book were to be written about your life, what would the title be? Like Van, I don't think I am an interesting person at all. But if I were to have the privilege of having a book written about my life, I'd probably call it I Wish That We Could Talk About It. Now, if that sounds familiar, that's because I got that from like this really cool LCD sound system song. And the song title is Someone Great. It's actually one of my favorite songs of all time, and it's written by one of the greatest, in my opinion, songwriters of all time. I feel like, and this is not to sound too sentimental, I feel like as a person, I tend to pent up like my emotions, and I feel like as like somebody in their 30s, I have had like a lot of missed opportunities in life, and what often keeps me up at night is like all those missed opportunities and all thinking about all my wrong decisions, and that's really continued to haunt me, and I really wish I could find someone or write down my feelings and talk about it. So basically, my entire life story would be me rambling about who I want to be or who I wanted to be. Oh my gosh, that sounds so sad, guys. And it would be really like depressing, and it'll come with a trigger warning, of course, and a 2-star rating on Goodreads probably, because no one wants to hear a miserable millennial ramble about her life and missed opportunities, let's be honest. But I wouldn't care because in my fantasy, it'll be a book written by me, and I think that's something that's all that matters, like having to tell your story and hoping it touches other people. And in also in my fantasy, it would contain like a foreword by the amazing Dolly Alderton. I mean, a girl can dream, right? So the next question is, oops is a 4-letter word. Have any of your books fallen victim to tragedy, and what factor played a part in that happening? So I'm just gonna go based off Ben's own answer. I'm thinking this pertains to an oopsie that happened, or like an accident that happened with your book. So many years ago, I had a copy of the second Harry Potter book because growing up, that was a very popular book, and she didn't have all those controversies during that time. And again, this was many years ago. I was an elementary student, and this was even before the movies came out, so you can guess my age from there. Well, I actually ended up breaking the spine of this book because I brought it to school every day, and they were like this and it was like this really huge scholastic copy, scholastic hardbound copy, by the way. And I broke the spine and all the pages fell off. So I ended up reading the book without a cover and having to like stick all those pages together. It was just a nightmare to read. To be completely honest, like the superstitious girl in me probably thinks that was could be like a harbinger, a harbinger, like an omen of what was to become of the Harry Potter community in the coming years. And I don't really follow the community as much as I used to after all the controversies. So yeah. Now, the next question is, tell me about it. How do you personally feel about DNFing a book, and what effect, if any, does it have on you? So, I don't think it's easy to DNF a book, especially when you're looking forward to reading it. I often feel that if I'm not in the mindset to read a specific story, that's when I end up DNFing a book. I rarely like abandon a book because I didn't like it from the get go. I tend to give books a chance all the time. So, that being said, I guess it's mostly a me problem. But to answer the question directly, because once again, your girl is like rambling on, I don't like the feeling of like DNFing a book because, that's someone's hard work on paper, especially in like this age of triggering AI and mindless slop on the internet. It's always a gem like to read something that came from someone's like creative mind and edited by an actual human. So yeah, basically I do feel bad and I really try my best to like revisit the book later. I've done this like countless times. The best example I can think of is when I read Priory of the Orange Tree. And if you are an OG in this channel, oh my gosh, an OG? I wish I had an OG in this channel. Guys, watch my videos, please. I promise you, I am interested. When I was reading like the Priory of the Orange Tree, after so many tries, I kept DNFing it. Like I would never get past the first few chapters. Probably I was always up to like chapter 2 because I guess it was because I wasn't ready or in the right mindset to take up a book that size or take up a very high fantasy book. But what I'm trying to get at is that at the end of like I ended up finishing the book, and it also ended up being one of the best books I believe has ever been written, and I love the rest of the series as well. So there's your answer. I hope I answered it. I feel like I ramble a lot, and that's because I tend to drink 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day. Next question. The sound of silence. It is said that silence is golden. When reading a book, can you comprehensively read amongst the chaos and chatter, or do you require a hush atmosphere? So I don't know if like my mic is picking up sounds from my background, but I actually live in a residential area. And you would think residential areas would be more quiet than the big city. But that's not really the case for me. I live in the Philippines, and there's always going to be that sound of karaoke with your neighbors, or there's going to be a pack of dogs outside fighting. So I've really learned to live with my environment, and I do tend to still be able to read no matter how loud my environment is. I used to like do like these reading playlists, like put on some headphones and then pop ons like a reading playlist on Spotify or any of those Ghibli collections on YouTube. But lately, I like reading quietly in the night. I tend to read between 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., and the noise in our neighborhood tends to die down by then. So yeah, that's really just my preference. I like reading quietly and preferably with no one in the room. But I have also learned how to read in very noisy environments. It's just a matter of just placing headphones and listening to something nice just so I can concentrate on the story. Yeah. So that's my answer. I can do both as long as I'm not distracted. It's all in the details. Choose 5 words that best describe your feelings about book banning. I have more than 5 words, to be honest. I have a lot to say, but I'll keep it short. I definitely agree with Ben. By the way, I will link Ben's video below if you want to check that out. Yes, are books that should not be read by certain ages, especially when it talks about mature or violent themes. However, these days, book banning has become a means to restrict access to diverse stories and topics. And by restricting access to different perspectives, you mold young minds to be closed off towards ideas or experiences that are far different from your own. By book banning, you stop encouraging empathy and you leave kids with a rigid idea of what life and society should be. Like, I know I said a lot, but I'm definitely against book banning and always will be. It's never too late. Name a book villain turned good guy. Okay, I don't know if this is cheating, but technically, a comic is considered a book. So I will choose Rainier from Attack on Titan. Rainier is definitely my favorite morally gray villain turned hero. He is super interesting and super complex. Technically, and we all know this if you've read Attack on Titan, Rainier is a very evil person and he has done really evil stuff against humanity. But if you look at it closely, Rainier is just he was just influenced by his environment. I mean, as a child, he was made to be a soldier and he had all these adults around him telling him all about like the evil people of Paradise and all those stuff. So he's really, as I said, like a product of his environment. When we discover, spoiler alert for those who have not reached this chapter of the anime or of the comic, he is revealed to be the armored titan. We, of course, as the audience, like, we grow to hate him, but when we discover his reasons behind his actions and how these later impact him later in, like, specifically the Paradise arc, we can't help but sympathize. I mean, of course, I can't speak for everyone, but I definitely do sympathize with Rainier. He was a kid, again, forced to go to war and eventually become a villain to us, the audience. So we see him as a villain, but in his mind, or like the early Rainier's mind, the real villains were the people of Paradise, and then he was gonna do there was nothing that was gonna stop him from pushing through with his plan. And again, in his mind, in Rainier's mind, he's following orders. He's protecting his home and his idea of peace and what's good. So I guess it goes without saying that I think Hajime Isayama really cooked when he created Rainier as a character. He truly ended up as like one of the best characters in AOT, in my opinion. And at the end of the story, he does become a shell of a man, and he has a lot of character development compared to a lot of other characters in the show. I think he's really up there with Levi and John. And in my mind, I like to think that Rainier finally found his peace at the end of AOT. Okay, so for this next question, I also find this interesting. I think all the questions are interesting, but I really like this one. Throughout your reading journey, what one specific thing do you tirelessly enjoy having described to you? Like your hands, food, clothing. So I really like it when writers take the time to describe places. Like, obviously, as you can tell from my channel, I really love traveling, and my weak passport unfortunately hasn't gotten me to many places. But books are really like this amazing way to discover the world. For example, I recently read Bittersweet by Hattie Williams, and mid book, she actually, spoiler alert again, she heads to Italy. And I love the way Hattie Williams, like, she described the locations. I felt like I was there right with the main character. Her writing felt so sensual, which is what we come to associate when we think of Italy, right? We think of it as a very romantic and sensual and intimate place. So, yeah, I think that's my answer. I don't really mind when writers take the time to really describe locations, real or not, to us, the reader. That's a wrap. Name the one book that you feel completes your physical, audible, electronic, or mental library. I would definitely say The Racial Incident. It's one book that I really love, and I think it hasn't been 5 years since I read it, I guess, but I can't stop thinking about it. And it's one book that I kind of wish I wrote myself. I love how it really captures the feeling of growing up, but you're technically an adult. I think there was a quote with, I forgot that movie where the main character says, "I don't even feel like a whole person just yet," or something like that. I'll try to pull it up and show it on screen. But I really love that book. I love how funny, sentimental, and just a reflection of how bold and beautiful and messy life could be. Two more questions left. Lend a helping hand. Recommend three booktube channels that need a boost in subscriptions, and then go and subscribe to their channel. Okay, now thank you, Ben, for recommending me. I would definitely recommend Lanisha Books, Ben's Book Corner, Reading with Cat, and Collector. I'm going to obviously share their booktube channels and tag them on the description below. A little bit of a background: when I started my YouTube journey, these guys were also starting their journeys as well, and they continue to upload to this day, and I'm so envious. So please do check them out. And that being said, I'd also like to invite Reading with Cat and Rambling Collector to do the tag if they want to as well. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching. I'm not so sure if I'm interested enough to do a video like this, but if you stuck around to the end, thank you. I'm very, very thankful, promise. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'm still in the middle of thinking of book related content. I really want to do a book list of book recommendations for for people of a certain age. So I'm trying to come up with books to recommend. And I definitely would love to do more book related content, but in the meantime, and if you want to, do check out my travel content on the same channel. And if you also want to, please check out my TikTok channel. I'll link it in the description below. Thank you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.